So, hello everybody. I am Jeannie Krause, and I am with my brother-in-law Dave Grenby, and his wife Terry Grenby is my sister. And we have been sharing some good news that we have about essential oils and alpacas. Now, we've also extended that to also reach out to llama, goat, and sheep ranchers because we are all in a situation now with parasites. And we found out that by a happenstance at first on the farm, Dave and Terry's farm with the alpacas, that using essential oils was helping to eradicate parasites. So we started sharing along the East Coast, and now we've broadened our discoveries and are now nationwide. And we would like to share with you some of the research that Dave has found about essential oils and alpacas so that you too can get an understanding of what it takes and what the research we've done to help you with your animals. So I want to bring Dave on board now. We have a PowerPoint presentation to help you just learn more about it. And if you're interested in joining the community, we are here to help you do that as well and get you started on the protocols that we found have worked amazingly for animals. So Dave, thank you so much for doing this presentation today. And I'm going to just give it over to you and let you just kind of teach what we've got going on, and I'll come on in the end and help people learn how they can really join our community, because you know we are here to serve you and help you with this predicament that ranchers are having now in America. So thank you, Dave.
Okay, thanks, Jeannie, and welcome everybody. Yeah, we're excited to share what we've been learning, and honestly, we've been learning a lot in the last 3 or 4 years. This first slide, that's a picture of our farm at Point of View Alpaca Farm in Virginia. We're in the heart of the Shenandoah Valley. Let's go to the next slide, Jeannie. We have 12 alpacas here. So there's my wife Terry and I and a couple of our alpacas. We had alpacas since 2014, and started off with 4. We're up to 12 now, and we've been doing a tremendous amount of research in those last four years or so. As Jeannie mentioned earlier about essential oils and how they might be beneficial to alpacas. So why are we doing this? We obviously, I grew up in healthcare. I've been working in the healthcare industry for almost 40 years. So I've got a strong interest in research, and we definitely have a natural approach to things. My wife and I, Jeannie, we definitely want to take care of our health, and we focus on natural approaches. We've all had personal success with Young Living essential oils, including myself. And we've seen these worldwide trends going towards natural remedies, not just for people, but we're starting to see it for livestock and animals as well. And we know that we need a solution. As Jeannie mentioned briefly in her introduction, we have some resistant parasites, not just in the alpaca world, but in the livestock world, in general. And lastly here, we're doing this because it's also an opportunity to create a business. And we got into the alpaca business because we wanted a revenue stream, and the essential oil is the same way. So it's all part of our business plan, and it's exciting because we're seeing that it really is work, and it's optimizing the health of our animals. Okay, next slide.
Oh, goodness gracious. There we go.
All right, so if you have alpacas, you've probably read this book. It's Dr. Sebra, Anderson, Banson, Johnson. These guys have their book is more technical than Dr. Norm Evans's book, but they cited here several years ago that we're seeing a resistance to the deworming medications that we've been using. So, and as a result, we're seeing morbidity and mortality rates have been increasing. So it's a huge issue. And if we go to the next slide, we'll see that not only this group, but here's Dr. Evans, and information that was taken right from his 3rd edition of his field manual, which I'm sure everybody has as well if you're an alpaca owner. There is no universal deworming program, and no program is 100% effective. And as Dr. Evans indicates here, we've been doing this for decades, and we still have resistant parasites. So let's go to the next slide.
And that's so touchy.
This is a representation of farms in the Mid-Atlantic region, Maryland, Virginia, and Georgia. And just to briefly highlight this, look at the bars, the black bars versus the gray bars. And this is a representation of percentage of farms that have resistance in these 3 states to the medications that we're using for dewormers. And the takeaway message here is we're getting high percentages, as you can see by the chart, the calibrated scale on the left. But you can see the difference from the black bar to the gray bar, where the problem is getting worse over the years. So we are seeing that it's getting much worse, and these veterinarians nationwide will tell us that we're approaching a crisis point with resistant parasites. Okay, next slide. And okay, so we have a resistant parasite problem. Let's go to the next slide. What are we doing about it? Here's what our experts are telling us, and this is all great advice, by the way. Steve Purdy is a nationally known veterinarian who has done a lot of speaking nationally and has a lot of articles out there. And he tells us that we really need to be focused on environmental concerns, like keeping our parasite control programs easily implemented and rely more heavily on good management practices and not as much on the use of drugs. So his last line is, try to avoid clinical disease through keeping your pastures and everything clean and these good management practices, and don't use medications unless you really have to. And let's go to the next slide, and you'll see this was Steve Purdy, but now here's the other veterinarians and PhDs that I cited earlier saying basically the same thing. If your control programs rely exclusively on chemical dewormers, then you're doomed to fail eventually. So, and then they go on to talk about maintaining a clean environment as well. All right, let's go to the next slide. And the next one is, I believe, Dr. Evans, and he's saying the same thing. But he's adding, and I think the others have all added this. I just didn't add it to their slide. We need to really eliminate the sources of infection, but increasing the animal's ability to resist disease is really important. And what we're finding with these essential oils is not only do they kill parasites, but they also improve the animal's immune system. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so most alpaca farmers have been doing all this stuff that was recommended in the last 3 slides. We've been doing it for years. We still have parasite problems. So what are we missing? So what remedies are the researchers actually researching? And let's go to the next slide. This is where we really started. 4 years ago, I started really doing a deep dive on my own. My wife Terry started, and I started doing a lot of research on, well, what's going on if we know that we have these problems? And what we've seen is, and I'll be showing you in greater detail in upcoming slides, is that the researchers are looking at natural remedies to address the parasite problem that we're seeing in the livestock industry. And actually, Dr. Evans, in his 3rd edition of his Alpaca Field Manual, he had a whole chapter on natural and holistic approaches to alpaca care. So, and in Dr. Evans's own words, and you can see this last sentence there, he sees that these natural and holistic approaches are another tool in your toolbox. He's not opposed to trying these at all. He's a traditional veterinarian and has not been involved in holistic, but he has 3 close friends who wrote this chapter for him, or 2 close friends, Dr. Schaefer and Dr. Cameron. And again, he sees it as another tool in your toolbox when treating the animals. Let's go to the next slide. So what are essential oils? Maybe they are the missing link in modern medicine. We think they are. They're really tiny volatile liquids that come from the plants. They come from all parts of the plant, and they're highly concentrated. When you see here, this is how they get the oils from the plants. You can see in this bottle, this liquid container, the oil kind of rises to the top, and the water kind of goes to the bottom and separates out, and then they siphon the oil off when they go through this process of separating, this distillation process of separating the oils from the plants. So that's where it comes from, and there's tons of plants. There's tons of plants that they're researching. Let's go to the next slide. And what we found, all the research really boils down to, when Jeannie and I looked at all the research that's out there, and there's a ton of it, we tried to really kind of narrow it down to what's the bottom line with how these oils work at the cellular level. And this is kind of, all the essential oils are comprised of three main components: phenols, sesquiterpenes, and monoterpenes. And they all have different functions at the cellular level. So the phenols, you can see, they basically clean the cellular receptor sites, and the sesquiterpenes, then they would come in and delete the bad information. It's like if someone had cancer, it's a normal cell that went bad and started doing the wrong thing because it's been programmed to do something that's not normal. Well, these sesquiterpenes delete that bad information. And then the monoterpenes restore or awaken the correct information in the cell's memory. That's at the DNA level, to have the cell do the correct thing. So this is why I said earlier that not only are these oils killing parasites and a lot of other things, which you'll see in a few minutes in the upcoming slides, but they're also building the immune system, because there's no chemicals on the market today that go to the cellular level and do this kind of repair that these essential oils do. So we're actually helping to build healthy immune systems so these animals can maintain a low level of parasites and deal with it on their own, because they're healthy enough to do that. Okay, next slide. This is the distillation process, and it's really, we've chosen the Young Living essential oil company because they have what we think the highest grade essential oils. We've researched, Jeannie has researched all the oil companies, and this group is head and shoulders above all of them in their quality control, in their research, in the money they're putting into research and development, and the purity of making sure that you're getting the highest grade therapeutic oils on the market today. So do your research. There's a lot of different types of oils. Not all of them have the therapeutic level and the grade level that Young Living has. Actually, they have about 50 or 40 some oils that have been approved by the FDA that we can ingest. No other oil company has that at this point. And Young Living didn't even have to change their processing to accomplish this. They submitted what they were doing, and the FDA was so impressed they improved it immediately, and no changes at all. So again, another highlight of the quality of this department, or I mean this company, this corporation. Okay, so now we have a couple things, and we're moving pretty fast here, so because we got a lot more slides to cover. So we know a couple things, that there was a parasite problem that's looming out there, a crisis in our industry. There's no new chemicals coming down the line. We know that the government's not approving any new chemicals because of the environmental concerns. Essential oils, we know now that they're near the top of the list of products that are being researched internationally to address this crisis. Actually, we found 5 countries that have approved essential oils as standard veterinary practice for control of parasites in their country. So we know that the researchers are looking at this. Actually, we've had help from a local university here to help us do some of the research as well. We've had our own intern for the last 2 years working on this with us. And we know we use essential oils because they work. Okay, let's do our own research, more of our own research. And here's what we found. And I found most of this on my own, Terry and I, but then as I mentioned earlier, an intern from James Madison University has been appointed to us, and we're trying to get a formal study approved there for this fall. But, and that intern just confirmed pretty much what we had already found, but found similar research that really was along the same lines. So in parasites, the way this is set up, in the left column, it's a condition that we're looking at or concerned about. In the middle column are the oils or plants that the researchers have been looking at, studying. And in the right column are their findings. And we have studies that really point to everything that we're saying here. We pulled this from the studies because I really wouldn't even know how to spell some of these words. But anyway, the parasites, the coccidias and the nematodes, you can see which are pretty frequent or pretty common in the alpaca world, also in the goat and sheep world. And Jeannie mentioned earlier, we do have some goat and sheep farmers that are working with us to doing some informal studies that we're seeing extremely positive results. But the parasites we're seeing that have been researched are these, the ones in the left column. And here's a partial list in the middle column of some of the oils and plants that have been researched to address the parasite problems, the coccidias and the nematodes that are displayed in the left column. And then all the way over in the right column, you see their findings. And you can see how, you know, these oils in general, and actually specifically, have inhibiting acetylcholinesterase. They disrupt the parasite cell membranes. They alter the lipid profile of the parasite cells. They inhibit the cell from dividing and creating more parasites. So bottom line, it decreases the parasite egg count, decreases the eggs per gram. Also, you know, just kills worms, mortality. So it causes the worms to die. So that was huge. That was huge when we saw this. And this is why, you know, some of these countries, these half a dozen countries, have approved already to be using essential oils for parasite control as standard veterinary practice. I mean, these research findings are undisputable. So, okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, I've got a slide like this, a blue background slide for every one of these conditions on the left. Fly and bug control. We have one for antioxidants. We have one for antimicrobials, for rumen fermentation. We have one for growth stimulants, skin conditions, stress relief, gut and digestive system, and the immune system. And each one of those conditions has the middle column and the far right column filled in with what oils and plants have been researched and what their research findings are. So that's how we developed our protocols for our book that we wrote, our second edition of our booklet, by looking at these oils and plants, and for the last 3 years by trying them out on our alpacas here on our farm in Virginia. So every one of these conditions has oils and plants that have been researched and proven to be effective. Okay, next slide. And actually, here's this is a good representation. This is a collaborating farm. This is, like I mentioned earlier, we have a couple farms across the country that are working with us. This is one in Texas. And you can see in this slide, it's a little busy slide, but it's really pretty easy to decipher. On the left-hand column are his alpacas. There's, you know, Devotion, Silver Tea, Dominic, Glenrock. You see those are his alpacas. And then the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns that are in black are fecal egg counts that he got from fecal studies that he did. And his studies, he sends his fecal material to Texas A&M, so he gets a consistent fecal result from the same place every time. And you can see he started back in June of 2018, and from June 2018 to mid-October 2018, he was deworming with chemical synthetic dewormers. And look at the eggs per gram that we're seeing here. And almost all of these are Homunculus contortus, the barber's pole. Big, strong jowl, you know, population out there. This guy's near Houston. The environment, it's wet, it's warm. So these parasites are in their environment and they grow rapidly. So you can see he's got counts that are really pretty high. And then if you look at starting in red, the first column in red is November 12th, 2018, is when he stopped using chemicals altogether and started using our essential oil protocols for parasites. And look at the amazing results that we're seeing here. I mean, those counts dropped from the thousands down to like 100, 150, some of them down to 0. And he's continued, and this slide goes through June or mid-May. He continues to this day using our protocols, and we're seeing these kind of results. So we know, and this is just one farm, we've got a half a dozen farms that are doing studies like this for us, and we're seeing the same kind of results. He's below a level on his eggs per gram. He's below a level where his veterinarian even thinks it's worth treating. So these animals are doing well. Not only, as you can see, we're killing the parasites of the eggs, but we're helping, as I mentioned earlier, with how these oils work at the cellular level. We're helping these animals to build their immune system so they can fight off these low levels that we're seeing here in the red. Okay, next slide. Here's some of the other farms. I mentioned we have some other farms, and I'm not going to read them all off to you. You can just take a couple seconds and look over. But we have farms in Virginia, Texas, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin. that are really using our oils and are trying our protocols and are seeing success. We've got about 60 farms on board now that are trying this, and these are ones that have been reporting back to us. Okay, next slide. This is how in Houston, how the farmer there in that one slide showing the all the results of the fecals. This is how he feeds his animals. We put their food in their grain. There's a couple of different ways you can get the oils to these animals. We recommend ingestion with the parasite protocol. He feeds in troughs, so he just separates his piles about 1 foot or 2 feet apart so that the animals don't fight over the food, and then puts a couple drops in each of the piles, so each animal gets their level of protocol on a regular basis. Okay, next slide. Here's another on our farm, and what we're recommending other folks do as well. Another effective way to administer essential oils is through inhalation. And here's a picture of we have a diffuser set up in the barn, and one of our alpacas is inhaling. We have a stress reduction oil in the diffuser. And usually we run 2 or 3 diffusers in our barn when we're doing herd health every month, when we're shearing, when visitors are coming, or when there's any type of, we're trying to clip their toenails or any stressful situation. So inhaling, and this is kind of an indirect method, but also there's a direct method. You can just put some of the oil in your hand and hold your hand right over the nose and the mouth of the alpaca, or on a little washcloth or something, and let them inhale it for a minute. We've seen this, and actually this is something Wade Geese, one of the judges that you probably all know if you're showing alpacas, has been using it he evaluates animals all the time. And when he has a rowdy animal, he keeps his stress away, stress reduction oil with him all the time, because he's seen it work almost instantly on these animals. Okay, next slide. Thieves is a major oil that we use in a number of our protocols, but our disinfecting and cleaning protocol, Thieves concentrate is the main thing that we use. And you can see in just a couple capfuls in a gallon of water is enough to really develop an effective disinfecting. And we use it for cleaning our food bowls. We use it for just about everything. You'll see in a couple upcoming slides other ways that we figured out how to use this. Here's on our poop piles. This is in the back of our barn, and you can see that's Terry, my wife, and I. The material that we're standing on is a geotech material, and there's some gravel underneath it so that water kind of sifts through it. This is the poop area behind our barn. So we clean up the poop piles, every day, and then just about every other day or so, we'll put a cap full of the Thieves into a bucket of water, put it on the poop area, and swish it around with a broom. And not only is it cleaning, disinfecting, Thieves is antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. It's also, when the animals are walking through this now, it gets on the bottom of their feet, and there's a ton of receptor sites on the bottom of your feet and animals' feet as well. So they're getting this Thieves oil directly into their immune system, which is helping them to build that immune system, as I noted earlier. Okay, next slide. This is, we use the same Thieves concentrate out in the pastures. If you're in the grassy area, we would clean up the poop here. And then what we do in the grassy area, though, we don't mix it in a bucket of water. We mix it in a spray bottle, spray container, little pump-up spray container, a backpack, or something you can carry easily out to the pasture. And after we clean up a couple times a week, we'll just spray this on the grassy area. Again, to try to kill off any parasites, eggs, whatever, and to clean and disinfect those areas as well. Okay, next slide. This is one of our, we also have a fly and insect repellent protocol. It's really easy to put this on a washcloth and just rub it in the alpaca's ears or on their top of their head or down their neck. You can even spray it on their body. It will not harm their fiber. One thing you want to be careful is never, ever put any of this spray into the alpaca's eyes. So you want to be careful not to do that. That's why when we're putting it on their head, we would prefer that you use a washcloth or something like that so that it doesn't inadvertently get in their eye. If it does, you need to rinse their eye with some type of a vegetable oil. But that's all explained in our manual as well. Okay, next slide. So here are a couple oils, purification and peppermint, that we use in that insecticide or insect repellent. But we've got a list of other oils that we use as well. And again, we've experimented with this for 4 years now. And so we've got some other oils that are listed in our protocols. And when you join our team, you'll have access to our booklet and you'll be able to get those as well. Okay, next slide. Now, the skin condition protocol, we have two methods here. One is spraying, and it's a kind of liquid version, and the other is an ointment. Sometimes it's easy to put an ointment on your alpaca if they have a skin, like a mange or a munch condition up around their face, their mouth, or someplace easy to get to. You can use the ointment and rub it right on them. But if you try to rub ointment on their feet, on their legs, you'll find they typically don't like to stand still and let you do that. So we've come up with a spray solution that has pretty much the same ingredients as the ointment, the salve, but it's in a spray liquid form, so you can spray it on their legs a little bit easier. Okay, next slide. So the previous slide was the spray, and this slide is the ointment. And as a base, we start off with the Young Living product here, Animal Sense ointment. And Animal Sense has a couple things, couple oils, tea tree and myrrh. And tea tree was one of the ones that we found a lot of research on early on when we started doing this research. And it has been proven through researchers, Dr. Elsie, Dr. Wall were two of the primary researchers on this. They've proven through their study and evaluations that tea tree kills external parasites. It kills mites, so like sarcoptic mites that are usually what causes mange, fleas, ticks, things like that. So it already has a base of tea tree in it, but we've added, again, a number of other oils that really, we think, help to complement and enhance what we have here with the Animal Sense ointment. And again, those are available to you in the booklet. Okay, next slide. This is just a picture, an example. This is one of our alpacas, and you can see on the left, she had that real dry elephant skin type of condition on a couple of her legs. And on the right is after only a couple days of using the ointment, you're starting to see color come back into the skin already, a little bit more moist, and some of it. And we've added some other oils to it that will help to grow hair as well. And we've seen some hair start to come back on this animal. Okay. We also have a sunburn ointment. There are some animals, especially crias and light-colored animals, that are more susceptible, a little photosensitive maybe, or to sun. So there's a protocol that we have for that as well. Okay, next slide. Now, I mentioned earlier, we're working with James Madison University. We're requesting a formal study to be approved for this fall, which is now. So we're hoping to hear from our professor that this is going to be approved. And the professor at the university and our intern have already developed a survey. They want to send it out to every alpaca owner in the country. So it's collecting some information on your farm. And it's all the information will be used in aggregate form, so it won't be identifying any farms. You don't have to worry about any of that. We're just trying to get an understanding of what the industry is like, and hopefully that will help us to get this approved through the review board at the university. We might even want to interview some alpaca owners, and we probably would be looking for other alpaca farms to help us with some of the research, right on their farm. So hopefully we'll find more people that are interested across the country. And I'd like to get a representation across the country because, as you probably know, in different environments have different parasites. If you have a warmer and a wetter environment, you might be more susceptible or at a higher risk than if you have a colder environment like up north, where maybe it's not, you're at a little bit lower risk with having some of these parasites. So it'd be nice to have researchers, in different parts of the country. Okay, next slide.
Mm.
Okay, this is Jeannie Krause, my sister-in-law, and as you can see here, she has really helped us make a lot of healthy choices. She's been educating people for a number of years, probably hundreds, if not 1,000 by now or more, on these essential oils, and she had a really good positive personal experience herself. So I feel like we're dealing with an expert when we're dealing with Jeannie. And the good news with Jeannie is she loves to share, and that's why she's in this, because she wants to really spread what we're learning so that other folks and other herds of alpaca don't have to suffer the ill effects of being unhealthy. Okay, Jeannie, I think it's over to you now. Oh, okay, I'll take this one too. I mean, this is, or do you want to go ahead and take this one? Go ahead, Jeannie, you go.
Well, the oils do have amazing properties in them, and there's a lot of research out there. So I really appreciate Dave and Terry doing what they've done to join with me to help me understand alpacas more, and then finding out that they were having such ill effects of the medications they were giving them, and a lot of them weren't making it. It was just breaking our hearts to see that, and we were having such good results with the oils. So that was our catalyst, it is to share and be able to help you out there learn more so that you can not only help with your animals, with the problems they're having, but also be proactive with what you can do to help them build their bodies and have a good immune system, so that if they do pick up any parasites, they do have what they need in their body to help them, be able to combat what they're dealing with. So we know essential oils work. We have a lot of research on it all over the world, and with Dave and Terry, we just don't see a lot of it in America. We're very pharmaceutical oriented, so being able to have another choice and have another tool in your toolbox, as Dr. Evans says, is an amazing way to give you guys choices. And so with all the chemical dewormers that are becoming ineffective, and the other countries using them, we do have some really good ways of backing what we're trying to teach and share with y'all. So I hope that you will consider joining our community. We have set up a website that enables you to be able to come and join on the website, and then we can get you into our training videos and the different things that we send out, newsletters and things like that, to keep you abreast of what we're doing, like Dave was saying with university, and we have a couple other universities that are looking also, because large animals kind of get overlooked. Dogs and cats and birds and things like that are normal household pets, but to be able to really help with large animals, we have to do a little more research because it's not as prevalent. So we know that they all work, and they're definitely worth giving a try on your farm. So if you're interested in becoming part of our group, what we've done is we've designed a book, Essential Oils and Alpacas. It's a natural health handbook that has a lot of our research in it. And so when you join our community, it's very simple on how you can get started. You can either get a hold of myself or Dave and Terry and get you the basic premium starter kit that Young Living has, that enables you to be able to get your a wholesale membership, so you can order your oils at a wholesale price. You're not going to purchase them from us. You're actually going to be purchasing from Young Living, because we want you to have that discount, and we want you to just have healthy animals and become part of our team. And then the money that we do get from Young Living for our research, that is how we get that little bit to be able to work with the universities and have that to give to them, to keep looking for new and innovative ways to help your animals. So going to our website, myenergy.life, is where you can actually get started. It's a good way to just look through the website, see what we've got on there, and then you can go just to the Get Started tab, And we have the premium starter kit, which gives you your wholesale membership. And then we also have other buy here buttons that if you want to pick a specific thing that you want to do, whether it's, you know, the immune system protocol or parasite or, you know, one of the skin conditions, things like that. It's a very simple way that you can do it at any time of the day or night and get started. And we will get notice of that, and then we will contact you and get you our book, because the book that we wrote about essential oils and alpacas is free to you, because it has all of the actual recipes for the oils in it, and it gives you what you need to get started. And so we've made it as simple as possible for you, because that is what we want to do. We want to just share that we have found some great things to help your animals. So I hope you'll join our community. There's a lot of fun that we do on our Zoom calls, and we've got a schedule on the website for the Zoom calls that we're having up until 2020. So we'd love to have you join one of those calls and just get on board with us, see what we're doing, you know, see what we're researching at the time and what we're sharing. So we try to make it as simple as possible for everybody, because I know you guys are so busy. You know, being out there on the farm, you got lots to do. So we usually do them around 8 o'clock Eastern time. So you have time to get through, get the barns clean, get the animals fed, and maybe get yourself a little dinner before you join us. So we really look forward to having you come on board as in our community of alpaca and llama and sheep and goat. And we've actually had cow, and I've been approached by, you know, some reindeer and different animals, because there's just nothing out there. And we think we found that magic, just that magic bullet that can help you keep your animals healthy, keep you from having to spend that extra on vet calls. Although we love you to keep your vet for, you know, for diagnostics, but just like we said, another tool in your toolbox to help you have a better life, you know, less stress on your animals, less stress on you. So I hope you'll join our community. And I think that's about it, Dave. Anything else you'd like to say?
Nope, I think that sums it up. Maybe highlight, what was your website again, Jeannie? Can you just highlight that again?
Yeah, we need to add it to it because we're just launching it now. So you'll be some of the first ones to see what we have on our website, but it's My Energy, INNERGY.life. So that's the website we've set up, and we're going out social media here to try to get the word out too. So you might see us on Facebook or Instagram, or where else? There's 2 or 3 other places, you know, but it's just it's fun. We love seeing and meeting with everybody and just helping you